Hi there, this is Matt Heffernan. Welcome back to my channel. This is yet another weekly vlog episode, and this one is going to be in a bit of a response to my previous vlog where I announced my new game for the ZX Spectrum, which I'm calling Pop at this point, and it is a Puzzle Bobble type game. And at the time when I made that last week, I did not know whether any Puzzle Bobble game had ever been made for the ZX Spectrum. Going back a bit, that Puzzle Bobble was a game that was created by Taito, or Taito if you prefer, that was an expansion of the Bubble Bobble franchise, and it was subsequently renamed Bust a Move, at least for the North American market, and then there's been lots of imitators over the years. But all this happened really after the period of relevance for the ZX Spectrum. So I figured that probably nobody did it. I did a quick Google search on it and didn't find anything. But thanks to you folks on the internet that had brought to my attention a game called Cannon Bubble. And this is a relatively new game. This was made in 2007, so definitely this was a retro homebrew type situation. This was not something that was commercially made while things like ZX Spectrum games were being commercially made. So what I'm going to do today is play a bit of this game and give you some of my thoughts about the design choices that they made for this. And it is a they. This is definitely a team effort. This was more than one person, as we'll see when we load it up. And we're going to see the choices that these folks made, and what I feel about those choices, how they kind of affected my thinking of how to make the game, and some of the changes and improvements that I envision for Pop. So let's go ahead and load it right up in the emulator. Now, one thing you may notice is that I am emulating a 128K Speccy. This is not the standard 48K that I'm generally doing, but that is a requirement of this. Oh, that is still really loud. But that's a requirement of Cannon Bobble, Cannon Bubble. Sorry, that it requires a 128K Spectrum. And of course, this was never put out on a tape, so this takes a while to load, but I think we're going to see the splash screen here in just a minute. You'll see there's some really impressive art in this game, in case you're not familiar with it, because again, this is not something that you would have had with your little Speccy at home back in the 80s. I'll, of course, be fast forwarding through most of this load process so that we can get right to the game. Yep, and there we are. There's that splash screen. It looks really nice. This is a very nice use of the color scheme, very subtly avoiding attribute clashes, and it's a really cool cartoony. Even has sort of like a hatchwork in it that looks more like a woodcut rather than, or a stipple pen drawing, rather than like computerized dithering of some sort of drawing. So it looks really, really nice. I sincerely doubt that any graphics I come up with are going to be as good as this. But, you know, that's not really the point of the effort of my game. I really want to be able just to create a game that plays really well, that captures the spirit of Puzzle Bobble, and is able to do that really specifically in the Spectrum 48K. So you'll see there's some things in this that will strike you as odd. Notably the sound. Once you hear the sound, you'll realize, well, this is not meant for something with just the buzzer. But I'm going to be just doing the buzzer, and of course, you know, being gentle with it so that it's not too obtrusive to the gameplay. So let's fast forward to the rest of this load process now. All right. Oh, very dramatic opening. So I know Cell Team, I'm not sure what that is, but it looks like more of a company. But as you can see here, a whole bunch of folks are credited in the making of the game and the testing and special thanks. It's quite a credits list. All right, I'm going to turn up the sound a bit so we can hear this. So definitely it's like multi-tracked sound. I mean, it's still. You'll have to tell me if this is what the sound chip that was added to the 128K, if this is what it sounds like, or if this is just like a bunch of layered buzzing. Or if this is really just the emulator, because I'm using Zasarx instead of Fuse. So I'm going to turn this down a bit. So we're going to see, if does it quite sound like that on other emulators. I haven't really tried it on Fuse, but I'm going to just do it right here in Zasarx. And but first, I'm going to need to define some keys, because I know the default keys that this uses are not the best. All right, there we go. So player 1 left, I'll make that Z. Player 1 right, I'll make that X. Player 1 up, I'll do S. Space bar to fire. And I don't care about player 2. And then M for music on and off. All right. Oh, yeah. So you can see there, if you don't go right away, yeah, it will just start putting them out for you. But it is pretty nice there. So you have a little indicator there where the you see the color of the bubble that's going to come out. And then you've got like the bombs are flashing different colors. And there we go. So, I mean, yeah, it seems to play pretty smooth, but I definitely do not like that automatic where if you take too long, it will just fire a ball wherever you happen to be aimed, because that's definitely not how the original game worked. Not that I'm going to be slavishly doing whatever the original game did, but I would be just trying to capture at least what games in this genre tend to do, so that it's not too far outside those expectations. And also, I mean, those features are there for a reason, because they enhance the gameplay. So I think what we'll see here as I move on are some of the other choices that they made. But I think another thing to really point out is the way that they've done the bubbles here. What I tried to do with my scheme before was to have the bubbles more tightly packed, so there'd be overlapping. So I created this very complicated scheme, and I figured, well, this is what's going to make it look more like a modern Puzzle Bobble game. And I think that's definitely the wrong approach. I think what I need to do is a lot more like this, and just get the bubbles to appear, right? And they don't necessarily have to overlap. The horizontal rows can totally not overlap, and I think that will be fine. It can be just like this, and also these same sort of dimensions where you're looking at like 2x2 cells. So you see, I waited too long on that one. So just so each bubble is just a 16 by 16 pixels, and then they use up a lot of this extra space on the screen to have all these fun graphics, and then it concentrates the game right to the middle. And again, that's still how a lot of Puzzle Bobbles are now, is that they're mostly about the cute graphics around the game, and then the bubbles themselves are pretty standard. And you know what? It looks good enough. And so I think I'm going to just steal this idea. Okay, now we're going to see here the random bubbles that start popping up. I'm also not a fan of that, because again, in the original game, rather than doing that, which is kind of unpredictable and more frustrating, like there it goes again, what you had was that hydraulic press effect. And that's what I definitely want to do in Pop, is get back to that, so that instead of random bubbles coming down, the top starts coming down if you start taking too long, if you've gone through too many bubbles, or if you're hesitating too long. So again, rather than firing up, what you're doing is the timer is ticking down. And what you're going to want to do is make sure you get your bubble off before the press comes a bit closer to coming down. You see there, it's like I was so close to finishing this level, and then it goes and does that stupid thing. So I'm not a fan of that. Another thing that appears that there's no way to do, I haven't found any like secret key code for it, is you can see what the next ball is, and that's just really for strategy. There's no way to switch it, right? Because some versions, in fact most versions, have a way of being able to switch out your current color for your next color. And that's another really nice thing to add to the strategy of it. Another thing I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do, because I'm not sure it's going to be possible, are the help trajectory that you get on some of these. Like when you first start the game of Puzzle Bobble, it draws lines of where the bubble is going to go to help you target it, but we're not going to have as much. Oh, you see again, it goes out. So having those helper lines, that may be a bit outside the ability of the 48K Specky. Oh my god, I'm going to actually lose on this one. All right. Oh, now we have, yes, we've gotten to the next part. That is definitely something I won't do, is the sort of borderline NSFW artwork that we have on here. I mean, it's nice. It's sort of keeping in with the pirate theme, but maybe not the most family friendly type thing, which is generally something I try to do with my games, is to make it so that, you know, it's a good fun thing for the whole family, and you know, safe for work on your break. Obviously your boss doesn't want you playing games on the clock, but if you're on a break and using your office computer to play some emulated old school games, that nobody's going to take a second look because there's some apparent nudity of some mythical creature. But also, this is where the game starts becoming a bit more difficult. Yeah, those random balls coming up, the random bubbles, they come a lot faster. Another thing Puzzle Bobble does, like when you get in this situation, is that if you're down to just one color up there, but again with this whole random ball situation, it doesn't really matter as much. But when you get down to one color, it will change the colors. Even if it's on deck, it'll change what's up there. Oh, geez. It'll change even the current color to match what you have up there, so that you can just close it out and you're not having to, you know, rip your hair out about everything changing right at the last second. Ugh. Yeah. Come on. Let's see, there we go. Rapid succession. Almost kind of works. There we go. I made it through that. Level 8. I think this may be a record. We'll see. This will probably kill me right here. But anyway, I think now I have a much better idea of what I want to do with Pop. It's, again, not going to be entirely like this. It's definitely going to have to be scaled down a bit, because I plan on just doing it solo. But yeah, it's going to be, I think it's going to be fun, and it at least has given me hope that that doing a game like this is very possible, even on the 48K. I don't think there's anything that's really going to stop me. I don't see it as being necessarily a very memory-hungry game. Most of that memory is going to be in the video, So that's just sort of static artwork. And so yeah, if I'm not changing that up as much on my version, then I think that I'll be able to get away with that. It looks like the TZX image for this, it's over 70K. I don't know what that really translates. I haven't peeked to see how big the or how much actual memory the game takes up after it's been loaded. But I'm guessing it's more than 32K, which is which means that there's really no way to make this work on the 48K Specky. There we go. All right. I think I may just duff this last one here just to show the the screen. So again, it never presses down. You have to do that. Just have it build down all the way to the bottom, and then you get the game over, and it plays you the sad little song. Oh, that's so sad. Game over. And then it just kind of sits there after it plays that song, and let me get rid of that. And then you get this little graphic, which is also very cute. And then you can continue. So if I hit Y, it picks back up at the level I left off on. That's it. That's all I'm going to be doing with this game. I have played some other Spectrum games, still getting a feel of what the system can do. And I am also in active development. I'm almost done with my first tutorial episode for Z80 assembly language, and that will be coming out in my very next properly edited video. So I hope you like this and that you've subscribed to my channel if you haven't already, and click that bell to be notified when the new episodes come out, and then you'll be notified immediately when the assembly tutorial goes public. But if you can't wait for that, join our Patreon community. It's linked right here on the screen and in the description. And just like all of these folks, as soon as I'm done with that episode and I upload it to YouTube ahead of its scheduled release date, you can just watch it right away and watch it ad-free, which is kind of the best part. So, but of course, you also get to contribute to this channel and get a lot of behind-the-scenes info. Also, if you like a lot of this ZX Spectrum Z80 type tutorial programming, there's a great channel on YouTube called Happy Coding ZX, which my new Facebook friend Alan Turvey is the proprietor of, and he's doing a similar series in his own unique style. And he's also somebody who grew up with the system and would be able to provide some of the insights. And I think between the two of us and a lot of the other content out there, I think we can really get more people into the homebrew scene for the ZX Spectrum. And even if you never thought you'd be able to do assembly language, I think that that my series, along with all these other materials, will help you achieve that goal and go from somebody who maybe just does a little C or Python programming to being somebody who could really do some awesome assembly language development and create one of these old school games. So I hope you enjoy that sort of thing, and check out all this content to come, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.